Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Riley McManus. After a 2-year hiatus, local union workers, families, and members of the community were able to gather again for the annual Labor Day picnic. The picnic gives community members a chance to reflect and celebrate the achievements of union workers. Jess Clement has the details.
Hundreds came out to Current River Park to celebrate with food, music, and numerous activities for the kids. Various union booths were also situated around the area, handing out informational pamphlets to picnic goers. Along with celebrating achievements, the picnic is also a time for labor workers to come together and reflect on what will happen in the future. Thunder Bay and District Labor Council President Carlos Santander Maturana says it's going to be a tough 4 years, citing that labor organizations are under attack in Ontario.
During the so-called post-pandemic crisis of COVID-19, we can see that healthcare is a major issue for us. There are a number of bills who are going through the legislation who are going to impact heavily on working people, in particular Bill 7, Bill 124 that put cap to collective bargaining. And those issues are very important for organized labor and by extension to workers in general.
He adds that it will be up to union workers to ensure they're mobilizing their own members.
It's going to be what we need to do to force the government to slow down the political reform that they want to do, and they are going to have a pro-workers agenda more or less, and less geared toward the business community.
Lise Bourgeois, NDP representative in Thunder Bay Superior North, was also present at this year's labor picnic. She agreed that labor is under attack, in particular teachers and healthcare workers.
Healthcare workers are being constrained by Bill 124 for the last 4 years, which means they have no collective bargaining rights and they're held to a 1% increase. And this is really a lot of what's pushing people out of healthcare, frustration with this, and there's no movement whatsoever to remove Bill 124. And we've been fighting very hard to get that taken away.
She adds that grassroots organizing is also needed to put more pressure on the province to rethink labor legislation. Jessica Clement, TVT News.
Members from a national charity were in Thunder Bay this past week to push the importance of Indigenous foods and inclusive meals in the healthcare system. Nourish Leadership only became a charitable organization in fall of last year, but is already making sure people across the country understand the comfort and healing good food can provide. Vasilios Bellos reports.
Nourish Leadership is a charity with the goal of using the power of food to promote climate leadership, equity, and community well-being. They have 7 cohorts across the country, including one in Northern Ontario that collaborates with NASM. This tied in perfectly with their recent workshop, which aimed to show how hospital or long-term care food can be both delicious and culturally appropriate. 4 different leaders were there to teach participants from Nourish's Northern cohort how to prepare delicious and nutritious Indigenous dishes. Nourish's Haley LaPalme explains that there is a gap in the healthcare system when it comes to food for the Indigenous community.
So we know that Indigenous folks are some of the most food insecure in the country. We know that food insecure folks are disproportionately represented in healthcare, and we can do a better job of meeting their needs, and that starts with offering food that will support their healing.
All the food that was prepared, including salads, vegetable dishes, fish, and more, were made with fresh ingredients. Kathy Loon from the Sioux Lookout Menno Yawin Health Center participated in the event and says providing traditional food to Indigenous patients is crucial to their healing.
It goes to looking after patients mentally, spiritually, emotionally, as well as physically. You're telling them their culture is important.
Members of Nourish Leadership plan to continue to hold workshops like these across the country to ensure food equity for everyone in Canada. Vasilios Bellos, TVT News.
The Thunder Bay Police Service are currently responding to a reported incident in the 300 block area of North Street North. As a result, the public will witness an elevated police presence. The public is asked to stay clear of this area. No further information is available at this time. This is a developing situation, and more information will be provided as it becomes available. Thunder Bay residents have an exciting heritage event to look forward to next weekend as Doors Open begins on Saturday. It's a perfect way to experience some of Thunder Bay's amazing architecture and cultural landscapes. Vasilios Bellos files this report.
Doors Open Thunder Bay is held every other September, with 16 in person sites and 3 virtual ones to visit this time around. It allows people to come out and learn about some heritage locations in the city and take in the amazing architecture Thunder Bay has to offer. Andrew Cotter with the Heritage Advisory Committee explains the benefits people can expect by taking part in Doors Open.
The history of our community, the culture, the heritage, learning about the past. These are all very value-added items that we can have in our lives to enrich them. So we encourage folks to get out and see the sites.
Some of the sites involved include Fort William Historical Park, the Thunder Bay Museum, and the Thunder Bay Tourist Pagoda. For those who are more comfortable with a virtual experience, the 3 online options are the Red Sky Métis Independent Nation, Superior Elevator, and Kiefer Terminal. Cotter goes on to say there are a few sites this year that are unique.
Because one of the themes is agriculture, and it's Rural Heritage Days out at Slate River Valley, so their community center, they'll be hosting Doors Open as well. So it's a bit of a trip out Highway 130, but it's a great place to go and take your family and get out and see that event. So.
Doors Open begins Saturday, running from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
The much-anticipated Heimers Fall Fair is back to being in person for its 110th year after having to go virtual since the pandemic. Residents from all over the Thunder Bay area came out to have the opportunity to see what the country life has to offer. Jess Clement has the story.
The popular Labor Day weekend event was able to go back to their roots and have their first in-person fair since the pandemic. The agricultural fair included a number of events like animal shows, craft exhibits, as well as a number of contests. Heimers Agricultural Society President Aaron LaForest says with everyone back in person, this year's turnout has been overwhelming.
We didn't decide till about April or May of this year that we were having a full in-person fair. And everybody's, a little rusty, but we're shaking that rust off, getting back into the swing of things. And this year's just, it's going to be bigger and better. And I think everybody's really happy to get back out to it. It's nice. It feels like every other year. People are smiling, having fun, and yeah, can't ask for more than that.
Along with the animal shows and agricultural exhibits, the fair also has a long lineup of musicians and entertainers who will be playing on the 2 stages over the long weekend. A variety of artisan booths and stands were also hosted around the fairgrounds, giving small businesses the chance to showcase their products and wares to hundreds of people, including Suzanne and Don Mancher, co-owners of Mountain Maple Products, who have been coming to Heimers Fall Fair for 34 years.
We're just glad to be here at Heimers Fair. We always meet a lot of nice, friendly people. This fair, they help with the business.
The fairgrounds are crowded with people who are excited to finally be back after 2 years. Smiles could be seen on people young and old who are taking in the shows, food, and country living atmosphere.
It's fun, it's exciting, especially after the last couple of years with COVID, not being able to go to stuff. So I think this is great. I think probably most of Thunder Bay wouldn't even know about Heimers if it wasn't for the Heimers Fall Fair. So it's the only reason why we ever come out here, so it's kind of nice to get all these people out.
LaForest adds that it's important for the fair to stay true to its country roots.
You look at our farmers, and we rely on our farmers for our food source, and with the Heimers Agricultural Society, we have sourced out as much as possible through Superior Seasons, supporting local companies supporting us. We've got some great sponsors, and it's truly important to stick to those agricultural roots.
And if you missed the Fall Fair festivities, you're in luck as the fair will continue on Monday at the Heimers Fairgrounds from 9 to 5 p.m. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Halloween came early this year for families staying at the KOA campgrounds. Kids and teens were able to dress up and participate in a number of Halloween-themed activities during the long weekend. After a 2-year hiatus, campsites were decked out again in spooky decorations for the campground's annual early Halloween event. Over 100 campers came out to participate in the numerous activities planned for the weekend, including a costume hayride, trick-or-treating, and a pancake breakfast on Sunday morning. Officials said they wanted to celebrate the holiday before it got too cold. We spoke to some trick-or-treaters who were happy to experience an early Hallows Eve.
It's really amazing. I like seeing all the costumes. They're all so creative.
It's pretty fun because we can dress up
And even in town, we can dress up too. We'll knock on doors, but this is better because you don't have to knock on doors or anything.
It's really fun to do the trick-or-treating, actually. Like, it's fun to walk around, you know.
Like, I like to see the costumes and all the decorations.
The weekend event was a fundraiser for KOA's Cancer Care Camps, which aims to help children with cancer enjoy a carefree time focusing on fun, friends, and activities at a sleepaway camp. Joined now by sports anchor Kurt Black. Well, Kurt, we just saw there was a lot of events happening this weekend, but there's some local hockey action as well.
Yeah, you know me, I'm not a big fan of the cold weather, but if that means hockey's returning, it's all good. And yeah, as you said, we got our first taste of what the Walleye will bring this season as the Teleco Cup wrapped up yesterday. We'll have those highlights right after the break.